Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life of Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. So I wanted to quickly discuss President Trump and the latest news that has swirled his campaign. And really, this specific news brings to light a lot of stuff. And I'm gonna do my best to expound upon all of it, some of which has already been discussed on this channel. But it's very interesting, and the news definitely made me think about a lot when it comes to Trump, so on and so forth. And so the news, of course, is that Trump is considering Nikki Haley as his vice president. Before we dive into any of that, I want to ask you guys to consider smashing, just fucking smash that thing, the subscribe button, at the very least, like, comment, share. You guys know the drill. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, first, I want to start here. Trump, there's two main things that I want to discuss first. So, Trump is a very charismatic guy, and out of 100 things that he says, you may very well get 10 or 20 of them that are him kind of just bullshitting, throwing shit against the wall, seeing what sticks, and kind of going from there. Okay, he's a ball buster for sure. I mean, he's New York. I would say he's a fairly masculine man. He's a ball buster. So I do want to preface this conversation by referencing that, because I don't want to dive too much into that, or I don't want to fully jump in with both feet to the idea that he is, without joking around or anything like that, or having some sort of tactical planning behind this or tactical motivation behind this. I don't want to do that. So I want to leave myself an out here and give him, and everybody who watches this, the option to just look at it and go, well, maybe he's just bullshitting. Maybe he's just busting balls. Maybe he is using this as a way to kind of double tap Nikki Haley and kind of fuck with her. Maybe, he is, like I already said, just throwing shit out and seeing what sticks. Okay. Now, if we just take this at face value, and analyze this from that perspective. Actually, the other thing that I wanted to reference before taking it fully at face value is in politics, and I don't think the average person consciously understands this. In politics, it's kind of like professional sports teams, okay? Where you take the LA Lakers or some shit like that, and whether they're doing good or especially when they're struggling, whatever the case may be, they have their in the light, in the limelight, when the camera is on them. They have, for the most part, a very calculated kind of beating around the bush persona. These professional sports teams and players have media advisors that instruct them what to say, what's smart to say, what's not smart to say. Hell, even college teams have it, to kind of dodge questions, not fully answer them, but not answer them at the same time. And it's actually quite brilliant when you think about it, how they're able to answer a question without saying shit. So, but behind the scenes, there's the reality of what's going on. And none of us, the spectators, have any idea what is truly going on behind the scenes for these various sports teams. A lot of people, and I've done the video on the new religion of the West. Professional sports teams is definitely one of those things, but nonetheless, without getting into that too much, a lot of men, hell, even women are fans, diehard fans of professional organizations, professional teams. And when things are going poorly, there's a ton of speculation that is thrown around based off of what we are able to see. But we're not really able to see a lot. We're only able to see what the cameras get, and even that is very calculated, it's deceptive, and it's not fully reality. The reason why I bring that up is in politics, it's much of the same way, where you have these political figures who present a certain persona or present a certain je ne sais quoi out to the public, but there's a different game going on behind the scenes. There's different things going on behind the scenes. So we don't know what those conversations are. And this is a key point that I really did want to highlight. These people, especially in the political realm that we're talking about, even people who are not in the political realm but are looking to have some say in the political world, these people are elites. These are the elites of society. And if you don't think that they are having certain discussions that are totally different from the discussions that you envision them to be having, you're just lying to yourself. Okay. It's like they're all in on the joke and all of us are not. And I wish it wasn't true, but it is. So there are things that are going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, conversations that are happening. And ultimately, we don't know the pressure that Trump is getting. Oops. We don't know the pressure that Trump is getting from these various donors and groups of elites behind the scenes that he talks to on a day-to-day basis. Now, while Trump appears to be a man of the people and a political this is why so many people voted for him, a political figure that has his finger on the pulse of the average American citizen. Make no mistake, a majority of his conversations are done with the elites of society, and they are having a completely different conversation than the one that we think they're having. So let's just assume it's true. Okay. I just want to take it here for a moment. I'm going to share my screen. As you guys can see, Business Insider, Trump's MAGA allies strongly urge, this is from Business Insider, strongly urge him not to mull Nikki Haley for VP. The Independent, Trump has spent months attacking Nikki Haley. Now he's mulling her for VP. USA Today, who would Trump choose as vice president? Here's a list of potential candidates. To beat Trump, Nikki Haley tries to expand coalition and fast. So this is where I'm going to take this, okay? I want to give you guys a historicity of Trump's time in office, all right? So Trump obviously was a magnificent campaigner, probably the best or one of the best that we have ever seen in the world of politics globally, okay? Not just America, but globally. And he made, we'll probably go back to that story that I have in the background there. when I wrap this all up. He made certain promises back in 2015, 2014, 2015 on the campaign trail that got the average American citizen, both on the left and on the right, excited. On the left, and this is what the Democrats were not anticipating to happen, but the left, or excuse me, Trump was able to garner the support of blue dog Democrats, union workers, working class, blue collar workers that primarily vote along the lines of what is going to help them the most in their specific field of work. And he got that. They saw, whether it was immigration, whether it was tax breaks. I would say immigration was probably the biggest one that contributed to that support from that group specifically. So immigration, tax cuts, putting American citizens first, speaking against the corrupt establishment, the swamp, the disgusting, cleverest, just gunky slime ball of a swamp. He called out. And the average citizen really liked that. Your average blue-collar worker really enjoyed that, okay? Especially from the Midwest, because the Midwest, for those of you guys who don't know, especially the states that are not overrun yet with foreigners and things like that, they are by and large Christian, they're by and large white, and they do tend to have a traditional minded, family minded, blue collar type mindset. But at the end of the day, they are going to vote for what is going to directly impact their pocket when it comes to money. So, and I understand that. I do. And sometimes that means voting Democrat, unfortunately. So Trump was able to capture the imagination of those people. And I would say that largely, in states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio, all these states with a ton of blue collar work, Trump was massively able to garner that support on his way to the nomination. Then when Trump got into office, there was an immediate power struggle between the people that he brought on, who were largely in line with his campaign promises and the rhetoric that he was spewing on the campaign trail. America first, American citizens first. We got to get our economy booming. We got to get these jobs back. Dash my job. All these good things. What's the South Park thing? He took my job. And he took my job. And there was an immediate power struggle. Now, what we now know is that was largely Trump's fault, because the same fucking people that he spewed fucking fire rhetoric against and spewed truth bombs, Trump spit that hate towards them. The same people that he did that towards, that the American public loved and cheered for and said, fucking finally, we have a motherfucker who is willing to call out these skis balls, these slime balls, these fucking goofballs. He ends up choosing them to be a part of his administration, because Trump, and this is well documented, Trump had the mindset of, okay, I've been elected now. Let's let bygones be bygones, and let's try to unite the Republican Party, which was a mistake because ultimately there's really in America, there's like four parties that exist. Okay. There are the more socialist, communist, liberals. Okay. The really left wing liberals. You have the more 1980s style Democrats, the the Kennedys, okay? Whatever the fucking guy's name that is running for president here. I'll look up his name real quick. Robert F. Kennedy, okay? Your 60s, John F. Kennedy, JFK styled Democrats, your old school Democrats, okay? Then in the right wing, you have paleo conservative that are America first, American citizens, non by and large non-interventionists, unless it means that it is in America's best interest to do so. And when I say America, I mean American citizens, that it will directly uh, help American citizens. Nationalist, they tend to be Christian. And then you have neoconservatives that largely came about in the 1980s out of the Cold War, that was largely influenced by what was going on in Russia, because at the time what was going and uh, uh, Jewish folks in America, because at the time, what was going on in Russia with the Cold War, it really opened the eyes of the Jewish population in America. And some of them started, and I could maybe discuss that in a different video, but suffice it to say, it opened a lot of their eyes, so to speak, and they changed. Just the long and the short of it is Russia was supporting some Middle Eastern countries. And at the time, because if you're not aware, Israel is definitely a very left leaning country. Okay. And, you go back to the 60s and 70s, it was just as left leaning then as it is now. And so you had American Jewish people who saw the support that Russia, well, let me backtrack. Therefore, because of the left leaning Jewish population in America, they did have a certain uh, uh, adoration for Russia. And Russia actually, when it was the Soviet Union, actually had quite a few non Russian leaders. Not just that, but non Russian Jewish leaders. Okay. So there was a certain adoration that American Jewish people at the time had for Russia. And then when Russia supported the Middle East and countries in the Middle East, it really rubbed some of the Jewish people in America the wrong way. And then they morphed their political worldview, and thus the creation of neocons was born. Because I would say up until the 80s, it was not quite a thing yet. I would say after Reagan is when the neoconservatism really started to move forth. So, anyways, going back to the situation, the bottom line is it was never, ever, ever going to work, because ultimately those two viewpoints are diametrically opposed. So much so that you take, and I've talked about this in the past, if you look back, the past 20, 30 years, two of the biggest conservative pundits that we have had and contributors would be Pat Buchanan, and then we also had William F. Buckley, who ran the National Review, which is still a publication to this day. And just to show you guys how much those two viewpoints contradict each other, William F. Buckley denounced Pat Buchanan and got rid of him and basically exiled him from the National Review, which was the predominant conservative right-wing publication at the time, and exiled him. So while Trump, in theory, it was a nice thing that he was trying to do, trying to let bygones be bygones, the bottom line is he did betray a lot of people by doing that. And I think at the time, people were so happy about him winning. It was a stunning victory for most. A lot of people were flying high. We fly high, no lie. You know this. A lot of people were flying high with the victory. And, you know, they, they saw the red flags for what they were, but it wasn't as dire a red flag as maybe some of the things that happened later in his presidency. It was like, ooh, that's not good. But this is good. This is good. They were much more willing to back Trump and provide some air coverage in order to continue their support of him and support this presidency overall. And there was still a ton of optimism within his presidency. Like I said, this is well documented. Steve Bannon, there's a really, really, let me see if I can find it. There's a really popular interview that he did. I don't think it was by the National Review, but in which he documents what happened. It was PBS Frontline. Actually, Frontline is what William F. Buckley had back in the day when he had his television show. It was called Frontline, I believe. So he documents this. I'm not the biggest Steve Bannon fan in the world. He's not necessarily top of my list for people I disagree with, but I still do have some disagreements with him. I would not call myself a full-blown populist like he does. That's like the main thing that he calls himself, is a populist. And I think, quite frankly, a lot of Midwesterners do. I mean, Steve Bannon is from the Midwest, and that is, the same people I was telling you guys about who supported Trump and really took him to victory are those populist Midwesterners. And Steve Bannon is from the Midwest. He's from Michigan. And so anyways, I highly, highly advise you guys to watch that. It's very interesting. But the long and the short of it is that Trump, it was well documented that almost immediately upon Trump taking office and choosing his cabinet, there was immediate conflict between the neoconservative, hawkish types and the paleoconservative. Well, actually, let me backtrack. Between the neoconservatives and the America First conservatives. And even within the America First conservatives, you have conservatives, and then you have populist America First conservatives with a more populist tilt. I know all of this is very confusing. Ultimately, the one thing you need to know about politics is it is us versus them. And a lot of people think that within democracy, you need a ton of support to get things done. No, that is false. You need a small group of people who are determined and believe in their worldview so strongly that they will push forth no matter what. And that's all you really need, because at the end of the day, every civilization has their plebs that basically go along with whatever is pushed down, pushed up the gut, really, and they will be willing to support it. So I think that's a common misconception, but I'm getting sidetracked here, guys. Sorry. But going back to Trump's presidency, there was immediate conflict. He hired Paul Ryan, he hired Lindsey Graham. Let me see if I can get them pulled up here just to illustrate what I'm talking about. And a lot of people initially were like, what's going on here? But a lot of, Ann Coulter, a lot of people who really stuck by him were willing to move past it because there was still a ton of optimism with regards to Trump. And ultimately, that's really the end of the story. That's why the wall wasn't built. That's why Trump, it was really difficult for Trump to get any of his campaign promises done because within his cabinet, there was this inner conflict that was going on over and over and over again on every single issue. Intervention with China, Hong Kong, the wall, the immigration crisis. Every single thing, it was conflict within his cabinet. So that's basically it, guys. And I gave you guys that overview to talk about Nikki Haley and why I am so against Nikki Haley, because Nikki Haley is Mitch McConnell. Okay, she's cut from the same cloth. She is another establishment Republican that is a part of the problem. Okay, and why America is in this situation. I no longer have time for conservatives who go, my Democrats, you see what the latest Democrat did? I can't believe what Obama did. Obama's not even from this country. I can't believe what Biden did. Biden he can't even stay awake. I'm tired of it, because at the end of the day, these establishment Republicans are just as big of an issue as Democrats. And can you really get mad at Democrats for being Democrats? No. Okay. But what you can be upset by is Republicans who say one thing but deliver another, or do not deliver, rather. You guys remember the Mitch McConnell South Park, the turtle thing? That shit was so funny. Absolutely hilarious. So I say all of that to say, and give that overview to say that, sadly, guys, as much as I want to believe that that Trump is doing this in a tactful manner and is being strategic, and the whole 3D chess thing that we have come to know and love when it comes to Trump, as much as I would love to believe that, my heart yearns for it. My heart yearns for it. As much as that is the case, we've seen it before. And I have said time and time again that, and I know I will get some pushback for this, but I have said time and time again that I think Trump is a good guy, cool guy. My support for him is more for what he represents. And to me, what he represents is being a pain in the ass to the establishment. He is a guy who was a part of their elite class that gave them the fuck you and started supporting us. He is a major thorn in their side. They continue to go after him. Colorado just said that they're not going to have him on their primary ballot. We'll see if that gets overturned. They have indicted him. They have done. I mean, you guys know the Trump mugshot. Hell, I even bought a shirt for the Trump mugshot. Okay. What he represents to me is this: a big fuck you to the establishment. Honestly, that is the best way that I can describe it. I wish that I could believe, but with that being said, there's a big but. There is a big but here. You other brothers can't deny. We have enough evidence at this point in time to know that Trump is, at the end of the day, guys, he is a great campaigner. He knows how to get on that stage and be entertaining and get a crowd pumped up and riled up and ready to go to war for him, metaphorically. He knows how to garner support. But do I, in my heart of hearts, believe that he believes on a deep level what he says at these rallies? I don't agree with Ann Coulter on everything that on every critique that she has given Trump. And I certainly don't agree with who she has turned to support after not supporting Trump. I mean, it's fucking crazy. She's supporting fucking Chris Christie. Okay. He's as establishment as it gets. She's a little lost with that. But I do agree with her that the difference between Trump and Reagan is, and why, and she said this in her Frontline interview as well. If you guys want to check that out, I highly encourage it. She said the difference between Trump and Reagan is that Trump, Reagan, if he hired the same cabinet that Trump did, basically half people that don't believe in his campaign promises and half people who did, and have people who weren't motivated to implement what his vision was for this country. The difference is Reagan believed in his soul what he said. Now, I can't verify that because I wasn't alive when Reagan was president, but I'll take Ann Coulter's word for it. And so he would be able, when you believe in your soul what you're saying, in your heart, you can implement and still persevere when against tremendous odds. Trump, on the other hand, when you have somebody who does not necessarily believe in everything that they're saying deep down in their heart, and you have a cabinet full or half full of people who are antithetical to what you're advocating for, you're not going to be able to persevere on your own. And that is why it's absolutely paramount that Trump this time around hires the right people. And I'm extremely concerned about that at this point. I mean, I've been concerned about it. Now, where I'm at, I overall is ultimately I would still vote for Trump, even if, I still thought that he was not going to hire the right people because of what he represents against the establishment. I want them to fucking lose. Okay. I want the establishment to lose. Okay. But I got to tell you, though, if he really did choose Nikki Haley as his running mate, I would not vote for him because, I'm at a place now where I will no longer be voting conservative or Republican across the ticket. Okay. Because at some point, you have to hold the people that you're voting for who represent your worldview, you have to hold their feet to the fire. And they actually have to deliver upon the worldview that they are advocating for verbally. Okay. If he chose Nikki Haley, I would not vote for him. She is completely against everything, everything that Trump, including myself, advocates for. America first, American citizens first, Christianity, nationalism. She is, not being in pointless wars, not sending billions and billions and billions of fucking dollars to foreign countries when our own motherfucking country is going to shit. Okay. Excuse my language, guys. I'm getting a little fired up here. I'm getting a little fired up. But that would be the last straw. And I think a lot of people feel that way. I think if Trump chose Nikki Haley, that he would lose for sure. Like I said at the beginning of the video, perhaps he is just testing the waters. Perhaps he is just bullshitting here and just throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks and perhaps he's using this tactfully against Nikki Haley to get her off her. I don't fucking know. Okay. But just taking him at his word, if this happens, I would not vote for him. And it is a major concern that Trump may end up, and it may actually end up worse this time when it comes to who he chooses to be in his cabinet and who he doesn't. Because when you're president, you have to, this is well fucking known. Excuse my language. You have to surround yourself with people who believe in your worldview. And maybe if they don't like fully buy into your worldview, they're people who will do as told, as instructed. They're yes men. So, this is definitely concerning, guys. It definitely is. And I was actually thinking about not posting this before Christmas because it is kind of disheartening news, but I believe you guys need to know the truth, and this is a major concern. You know, it's like Trump. Have you not fucking learned anything, dude? Have you not listened to the countless people who are currently very, very wildly successful and what they've told you? Have you not learned from your mistakes in office? Can't you see the massive amount of support Vivek Ramaswamy is getting when he goes up there and totally bitch slaps Nikki Haley around on the stage? Verbally, of course. Honestly. And I know the polls would not indicate that because, because the same people who support Ramaswamy support Trump. So the polls, if it comes down to an either or, they're going to choose Trump. But if it wasn't a poll where you could only choose one of them, I guarantee you the two people that would be the most supported, like say it was a thing where you could choose, where you could rank them who you like the most, and then least in order, like a poll like that, I guarantee Ramswani would come in second or third. Okay. He has received massive support for calling out the bullshit of the neocons and their hawkish agenda on stage. Okay. Can't he see that? But, you guys got to understand that, and I said this at the beginning of the video, that these people, you can't forget this. They are the elite. Trump is the elite too. He's not a part of the inner circle currently, or he's not sitting at the popular table right now or the cool table when it comes to the elite high school. Okay. But he's still a part of the elite. And so these people get insulated, and they only hear what the elite of society have to say. But of course, their opinion of what's going on and what should be done is skewed, it's biased. They live a different life than most people do. People always wonder why conservative Supreme Court judges, as their career goes on, they tend to become more liberal and more liberal. And the answer is, now that they're involved in a higher echelon of society, and they go to the same golf clubs and country clubs, and as all these other elites that actually make decisions in society, that they become influenced by it. Okay. You do get you do become affected by those closest to you around you. That's why they say that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay. I don't know if I'd say that that's absolutely 100% true, but I do think that people are uh affected by people who are close to them. How much, how little, I think it depends on each person, but they are affected. So, you know, that's just the sad reality with Trump. From like our vantage point, we're like, can't you see this? Can't you see that? Can't you see this? Didn't you see that smackdown Vivek laid down on Nikki Haley? Can't you see that the people, that your base doesn't even support Haley or DeSantis, that through all of this they still support you? But the answer is, he's insulated, and he becomes afflicted by those closest to him. So to wrap this up, let's read this story. Former President Donald Trump is asking allies what they think about Nikki Haley amid speculation that she would be a good candidate for vice president, Politico reported. And to tell you the truth, this is really smart by the neocons. And how much you want to fucking bet that these neocon snakes behind the scenes have approached Trump with this idea, that is why this idea surfaced? I would put more money on that than money on Trump coming up with this as a scheme, as a tactic, as a strategy himself to put her off her game, or as like a big fuck you to the Republican establishment. I guarantee you, the Republican establishment knows that DeSantis and Haley are not going to win, regardless of what has happened in Colorado. And they have approached Trump on him considering, or the idea of him considering Haley as his VP. And they would love nothing more than for her to be VP. Guys, oh my gosh, if she was chosen, oh my gosh, that that would be terrible, guys. It really would. However, many in Trump's inner circle are working to dissuade him from considering the former South Carolina governor, whom they see as part of the political establishment. Very true. And not aligned with his MAGA base. While Trump remains firmly ahead of his Republican rivals in the polls, Haley has gained considerable traction in the primary race. That's false. Trump has now been asking people outside his campaign what they think about Haley. 3 people familiar with the conversations told Politico. Haley could be seen as a logical pick for Trump because she leads President Joe Biden nationally and in key battleground states by wide margins. However, Donald Trump Jr., Trump's eldest son, said he would go to great lengths to make sure his father didn't pick Haley in an interview with Newsmax. There you go, Don Jr. That's good. I do think Don Jr. does sometimes have his finger on the pulse. Not always, but sometimes. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson, a longtime Trump ally, not true, also said that he would not vote for Trump for a Trump-Haley ticket and would, in fact, advocate against it as strongly as I could. Well, that's good to hear. Speaking at a conservative conference last week, former Trump chief strategist Steve Bannon called Haley Lucifer and warned that the GOP establishment will pressure Trump to choose her as a running mate. Can you guys see the conflict that I discussed? You guys can see it within the article. What I was discussing at the beginning of the video, it is the establishment neocons, because they unfortunately have had more power than the more nationalistic paleo-conservative populist types. He told Politico that Haley used outdated Republican talking points and Fox News laundered neoliberal, neocon policies that MAGA finds unacceptable. I fucking hate it when conservatives use this fucking these talking points. I mean, he's doing the same exact thing. These fucking tropes, you know, bird brain. Meanwhile, Haley has received a boost from the latest polling ahead of the New Hampshire Republican presidential primary on January 23rd, which shows she has whittled Trump's lead down to 4%. According to a December survey by American Research Group, Inc., asking voters who they preferred in the primary, Trump earned 33% and Haley snared 29%. Trump denounced the poll on Truth Social in typical fashion. Fake New Hampshire poll was released on Bird Brain, Trump said about Haley. Just another scam. Just another scam. It's just another scam. I can't I tried to do his his voice and his style of talking. It's not as easy as you think, but his mannerisms. Haley and Trump have a tumultuous history. She was initially critical of him during his 2016 campaign, but later accepted his offer to become his ambassador to the United Nations. Shocker. Shocker. She's a political, guys, she is a political hooah. Okay. She is a establishment hooah that will do whatever will give her power. And that is why she cannot win. We cannot have these power hungry slime balls, skis balls in power any longer. We can't. Haley resigned from the role in 2018 and later broke from Trump over the Capitol riot. Yikes. That's a farce. Although they later appeared to put their differences aside. She initially said she would not run for president in 2024 if Trump did, but eventually decided to. See, again, how many times did she have to betray him for him to see her for the snake that she is? So anyways, guys, that's pretty much that. Let's see if I can find latest Republican polls. Let's see. I mean, I don't honestly, guys, I don't really pay attention to polling that much because I mean, I think it is there's some truth to it, but it's not the end all be all. You know, you never know for sure. DeSantis is still Trump is at 82% on average. DeSantis at 11.7%, Haley at 10.8%. See, the thing is that the reason why Ramaswamy is at 4% is because everybody who supports him or would support him supports Trump and vice versa. So, but obviously they're going to lean more towards Trump always, until proven otherwise. They're always going to lean towards Trump. If it's a you can only pick one type poll. So Trump's I thought it said 82%. It's 62%. As of December 23rd, 2023, DeSantis 11.7, Haley 10.8, and Ramaswamy 4%. So, all right, guys. So let me know what you guys think. Trump just continues to steadily climb, which is awesome. Good for him. But there's major concerns, guys. There's major concerns. And I think at this point, the type of conservatives who are like, I don't like what Trump says. It's too harsh rhetoric. Those types of conservatives, fuck them. Okay, they're going to vote for Haley. They are as brainwashed as libtards on the left. Okay, and it is what it is. You're not going to change their mind. These boomer, mainstream news watching goofballs, they're not going to change their mind. So we'll see what happens here in the coming months. This is going to get interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Support your boy. Support a fellow king. Like, comment, share at the very least. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts are feelings because your feelings just don't matter. Love you, kings. I will hopefully do a Christmas Eve or a Christmas show. I would love to get like a Christmas sweater or something like that. It's hard for me to spend money for a shirt that I'm only going to wear one fucking time. But I'll see if maybe I can get some lights or, somehow make this a festive stream. But I'm gonna do that either tomorrow or Monday. So stay tuned to that. I've had a lot of people commenting, saying that they hope I do some sort of a Christmas stream. So I will definitely try and get you guys covered with that. I gotta find some content to watch though, to make it worthwhile. And I was thinking about doing this this topic then, but I needed to do this separately so I could fully delve into what I needed to discuss regarding this topic. So anyways, kings, thank you guys so much. Crisis King. See you guys next time. God bless. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.